Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Michael Hunter. This channel is Harmony with Hunter. Typically I do live looping videos of original songs and cover songs, but sometimes I do these little vlogs, and today I wanted to sort of circle back to a video I made earlier around mental health as it relates to musicians specifically when it comes to dealing with the COVID pandemic. You can check out the other video, the older video over here somewhere. Also, I just want to say a quick thank you to all the people that reached out after I put out that video. It really meant a lot, so I appreciate that. But yeah, sort of where we left off in that video, just the short version. COVID forced me to sort of come to grips with the mental health issues that I've been dealing with my entire life. And I ended up starting therapy, which is a very good thing. Since then, I continued my work in therapy. I got vaccinated, more people got vaccinated, and then things started to open up. And heading into the summer, gigs started coming back. And, soon enough I was working pretty much as I'd ever worked during the summer. I was really busy playing lots of outdoor gigs, and it was great. It was really, really wonderful to be playing in front of live audiences again. Everything seemed to be looking up for the most part. My mental health was improving. Things were looking pretty good. And then Delta came along, and that really kind of screwed things up. People got afraid again, and the venues started closing down, and the shows started getting canceled, and the gigs started getting canceled. And even before COVID, there was plenty of reason for people to not book the band, or not hire the musician, or not go to see their friend's show at the local pub. But with Delta rolling around in there, it was even tougher. In New York City and Brooklyn, we check for proof of vaccination for indoor dining, indoor venues. A lot of places require masks if there's going to be a lot of people crammed together. So they're pretty on top of things, and people can feel safe going to do these things. But a lot of my gigs are out of town. They're on the road, and these places do not check vaccinations, and they don't require masks. So I found myself saying no to these gigs, which were a substantial part of my income and took up a lot of space on my calendar. And I said no, not because I was worried for my own personal safety. I was, vaccinated and young and pretty healthy. But I just didn't feel comfortable, going to these places where there was a much higher chance of people being unvaccinated and then less protected. And I didn't want to get other people sick. I didn't want to come home and give it to somebody that I care about, and I didn't want the people that were there who were more vulnerable to get sick. So I said no to the out-of-town gigs, and then my calendar cleared out even more, which was very, very scary. The metaphorical gig phone stopped ringing, and accordingly my mental health dipped again. Worse than last time, I'd say. Because at least last time, as bad as it got, I still had sort of the hope provided by the vaccines that were on the way, that things could be fixed, that things could go back to normal, and that the work would return. But with Delta, I started to think that maybe things would never return, not to the level that they were at before, and that we'd just be on this never-ending cycle of gigs in the spring and the summer when people could go outdoors, and then nothing when it got cold in the fall and the winter, which is a very scary thought, and put my mind back in a not great place. So as autumn rolled around and my calendar looked increasingly bare, I was wandering through my neighborhood, and I saw a sign posted in my favorite local bar, Bartender Wanted. I bartended through my 20s as a way to sort of keep myself afloat while I was pursuing music in bands, and I enjoyed it for the most part. So I figured, why not give it a try? And I submitted a very old and out-of-date resume. At this point, my mental health was basically in the toilet. I just didn't really see much of a point in doing anything, and social media certainly wasn't helping. I knew, obviously, I shouldn't be spending much time on social media, but also that's how I got my music out into the world. That's how I promoted Harmony with Hunter, and that's also how I connected with other musicians in the scene, especially with COVID. It's obviously more difficult to see people. So unfortunately, whenever I would open up Facebook or Instagram, it always looked like everyone else was doing great. Everyone else was playing gigs and they were busy and they were doing tours, and I was just sitting here with my empty calendar being like what am I doing wrong? Everyone else seems to be doing great. Like I spent like the past several decades like building up these skills. Nobody was calling me up for work anymore. And the more I thought about it, the more I started to think like maybe the thing I love doesn't have to be the thing that pays my bills. Maybe bartending can pay the bills, and maybe I just do Harmony with Hunter on the side to keep me artistically fulfilled. I did, in fact, actually end up getting the bartending job, even with my old, outdated resume. And in the fall of 2021, I found myself working in a bar again. And at first, I actually enjoyed it. It was nice sort of being forced to interact with lots of people. And there's something very pleasant about, people across the counter asking you for a thing, then you make the thing, you give them the thing, they're happy that you gave them the thing, But as time went on, I became sort of increasingly uneasy about the job. I started remembering the things I didn't like about it, like the fact that drunk people are idiots. Standing on your feet until 5:30 in the morning is pretty exhausting and really messes with your schedule. On the upside, it did give me some perspective. It gave me some room financially to sort of take a breath and take a step back and examine my life and my career, what I wanted. At my therapist's urging, I finally decided to consult with a psychiatrist about the possibility of starting medication to deal with my depression. I'd always been very resistant to the idea of taking medication, just like I was resistant to the idea of starting therapy. But at this point, I was just so tired of being depressed. The whole everything is terrible, what's the point of doing anything mindset was just getting old. After bartending for a month and a half, I realized that even if it is a more stable career than being a musician right now, I'd still rather make less money as a happy musician than make more money as a miserable bartender. And that maybe if I wasn't getting offered work, I should try asking for it. So I did some research and found a psychiatrist that takes my insurance, and after a consultation, she started me on a low-dose antidepressant, and I put in my 2 weeks notice at the bar and started reaching out to my musician contacts looking for work. And since then, the improvement in my mental health has been considerable. The work hasn't quite returned to what it was, of course. But there's a lot of gigs on my calendar now that weren't there before just because I asked for them. Including actually a 3-hour cover gig for Harmony with Hunter, which is that's going to be a lot of fun. The antidepressants at first were a little difficult to adjust to. The first month I had some headaches here and there. But after that, I kind of settled into it, and I haven't had any major depressive spells. Since then, no real dips. I feel generally just sort of more hopeful and more energized, which is great. I still occasionally get a little bummed out if I look at social media, but I also just try to remind myself that we're all kind of keeping up appearances right now in one way or another, and the people out there that are doing well, like, they have their own struggles too. Just having the perspective of trying out another career, just even if it was for like a month and a half, helped me realize that it's worth putting in the extra work to keep this career that I've been building doing something that I really love, which is making music. So if you're a musician who's watching this video, what's the takeaway? Why did I make this video? Why am I sharing all this? I guess I just wanted people to know that if you're struggling to find work right now as a musician or otherwise, you're not alone. If you're struggling with mental health issues and you don't feel like you can voice those issues publicly because you're afraid that you might lose work, you're not alone. These are insane, unprecedented times that we're living in, and You know, the fact that you're struggling, that we're struggling, that I'm struggling, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're not talented. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve the things that you want. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be happy. I guess I just hope that if you're watching this video right now, maybe you feel a little less alone about whatever you might be dealing with. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me as I walk you through my mental health journey. I'll be back with another live looping video soon. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you're struggling with any of the stuff that, you know, I was talking about in this video, feel free to reach out. You know, I got time to respond. So, yeah, take care out there.